I want to break this down as quickly as I can. So we're going to start with bufotenin, and I'm going to pull up the peer-reviewed published medical paper that confirms that bufotenin is found in patients with autistic spectrum disorders and schizophrenia. Bufotenin, the molecule, it's a DMT molecule with a hydroxy atom. There's a misconception in our community that the pineal gland is here. The pineal gland is not here. And also this right here isn't technically an eye. Whatever that energy is, I'm not telling anybody that you don't have a device that forms up here when you go into meditation and do breath work. That is a real thing, and I feel it. But what I'm talking about right now is where the visions come from. They do not come from here. There is no eye here, and it doesn't actually look at the reality. None of that shit is actually happening. Whatever's happening with the energy bubble that happens in the forehead, it has something to do with light and somehow a discharge that can come out of the. It's a long story, and I don't know enough about that to really get into it. But what I can tell you is that you don't have an eye over here that opens up and suddenly you see shit. That's not a real thing. All right? You have a pineal gland. The pineal gland is facing back from your hypothalamus, and it's facing at this little intersection point between your midbrain, your what is that? Your cerebellum, if I remember correctly. Yep, cerebellum. So that's your cerebellum on the outside. And here you have a picture that actually like illustrates your pineal gland is back there. That's we're not looking at this backwards. This isn't your face. Your face is over here, all right? And your pineal gland faces back. It's on the back end of your neck. I want to be super, 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 super clear about this. It's on the back end of your neck. The other day I was so fired up because this is a very personal subject to me. I know those schizophrenics, and I've been on the edge of insanity multiple times in my life because I've gone through days and days and days of sleep deprivation and stress and depression and suicide, not being able to think clearly. And I really, really find it just absolutely disgusting the way that we treat mental patients and the way that we talk to them about what's going on with them. It's very, very important that we get our minds around what is going on with perception, because especially in the spirit of evolution, things change and your eyes open wide. This is happening all over the world. People, it doesn't matter what they're opening their eyes to. They're opening their eyes to their own emotions. They're opening their eyes to other people. They're opening their eyes to the way that the world works. They're opening their eyes to spirits or orbs or whatever it may be. I don't experience that stuff directly, but I do experience a whole lot of other things that are how you say, very internalized. Like I can feel what feels like DMT moving through my body a lot, and I don't get visions, and the reason is because I don't pressurize my pineal gland. So your pineal gland is coated in something called piezoelectric crystals, and there's a peer-reviewed paper that I can link in the description. So bufotenin being confirmed in the urine samples of autistic patients and schizophrenic patients. The significance of this hydroxy atom that's in bufotenin. Let me pull up the DMT molecule now so we can have a look at their similarities. And then also, no, I put that into a document and I have a link there, so I don't need it. Okay, so this is your DMT molecule. That's pure DMT right there, right? DMT molecule. And then you have a bufotenin molecule. You see you have the two hexagonal pieces right here with the N branch, and then you have an HO atom, a hydroxy atom, and I believe that's a negatively charged atom. I could be wrong. There's something complicated about the reason that it's HO and not OH, because it's a hydroxy atom. It's literally just a hydroxy group atom at one of the most basic stages. And then you go in here and you find out piezoelectricity has actually been confirmed. So piezoelectricity is what gives you visions. Bufotenin is what gives you the psychedelic feeling of it. And the psychedelic feeling is the feeling of oneness, the feeling of even delusion, even confusion, even clarity. It can cause amnesia. It can cause clarity of thought. It can cause you to string thoughts together. It can cause you to lose track of things. And it comes down to the way that the pilot is actually interacting with themselves while this stuff is pumping through them so often. And I believe that with a schizophrenic or somebody who's autistic, the word autism comes from the Greek word autos, which means self. And I'll pull that up for you too. The word autism comes from the Greek word autos. So when you're saying autism, you're literally saying selfism. All right? That's why it literally means, in other words, the term means isolated self. That's what it is. All right? And so autism is really a spectrum of people who are completely not self-absorbed, but self-connected. All right? And this is important. This is an important distinction to make because a lot of them are very creative and very smart, and they study and they spend a lot of time alone. And honestly, if I had been a lot more communicative with my psychotherapist and all these people in my childhood, and even if I was involving myself with this whole dynamic as an adult or as an adolescent, and I told them, my habits, they would have been like, yeah, you're probably autistic. We can put you through a test. But I never did that because I knew that they were asking me specific questions and even trying sometimes to get me to give them a specific answer so that they could write it down onto a paper and then basically collaborate with other people and be like, yeah, what do you think? And give me another test and try to find out and give me a diagnosis. And you know what? This is all very simple. People are people. Everybody has a different experience of life, and there's a system by which that happens. There is nothing in the reality which is not real. So when we juxtapose ourselves against other beings who are going through things, especially schizophrenics, like I've been attacked by schizophrenics. I've been literally attacked by schizophrenics, and it wasn't their fault. It wasn't their fault at all because there's something going on in their mind where they're experiencing their own thoughts, and their own thoughts are as real as what they see out in the reality, so that when they walk up to a person and they have a nervous reaction and they start thinking, oh, this person is thinking something about me, they don't actually perceive that gap. They literally just start perceiving what feels like energy coming from another person that's basically their own thoughts expressing to them what they're thinking, but they don't know that it's their thoughts. They don't know the difference between their ego and their reality. And it's very, very important that we make this distinction. Bufotenin is, see, they've been saying that they can't confirm the presence of DMT in the human body. All right? That they can't confirm the presence of it in the pineal gland, that especially in the past, they said they had to do more research and do more tests. That was never the case. They knew that bufotenin was found in the body. They knew that bufotenin was already there. It's a technicality to say that bufotenin is not DMT because it's not quite DMT. It just has something extra on it. And so what is a hydroxy atom? Hydroxy atoms are not highly reactive, but they readily form hydrogen bonds and contribute to making the molecules soluble in water. All right. So what does that mean? That means that DMT with a hydroxy atom, it's basically soluble in that fluid, so then it can travel around your brain and around your body in the same way that serotonin does.